All right, council and guests, we are ready to call the meeting to order. Thank you all for joining us at this special meeting of council. I'll remind everyone to please dispose of any pecuniary interests that they have at the appropriate time. And I just want to take a moment to recognize that we are meeting on the Peace and Reconciliation Day here in Canada. And we want to take a moment to just recognize our past and how we are going to continue on in the future with our Native neighbors. And this day kind of got me thinking about the fact that we don't do a land recognition at the beginning of meetings. And I was wondering if council was so inclined to make a motion that we have direct staff to perhaps do the research that we need to do in order to do that land recognition at the beginning of each of our meetings. Councillor Mitchell and Councillor White, did you guys want to?
I'll move that.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yep.
Any questions or comments on that? All in favor? That is carried. Oh, yes. That's anybody against or would like to speak against? I see that that's carried. Thank you very much, council. I think that that's something that was on my to-do list for quite some time now. So we will move on to number 3 on the agenda, which is the staff items, verbal update from Teresa on the fundraising campaign for our new hall.
Thanks, Mayor Rumboats. So we've had a productive week in that I've sat down with Amanda, our CAO clerk, and presented pretty much all of the materials and plans. And we will be engaging our chairs once again and continuing with the recruitment. And we are looking at having our groundbreaking ceremony. And I apologize, I don't have the date in front of me, but I believe it was October 22nd. And it will be an outdoor event. And the invitations will be coming out this next week. So that will be the first event that we'll be doing to kick things off. And so all of council will be invited to participate in that ceremony.
That's great. Thank you for that update, Teresa. And we are welcoming tonight our delegations. Anand, welcome to this evening. Are you going to be doing the presentation?
Yes, Madam Mayor, it will be myself. Dennis
right.
Kwan is also on the call as well towards the end, should he need to assist as necessary with responding to any questions of council.
That's fantastic. I will turn the meeting over to you then.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I will just share my screen and I will go into presentation view. Could somebody please give me a thumbs up that it's displaying correctly? Thank you very much. So yes, again, my name is Anand Desai. I am with Monteith Brown Planning Consultants, and I have about a 10-minute presentation to go over the Township of Warwick's Parks, Recreation, Tourism, and Culture Master Plan. Echoing the mayor's comments at the start, for us today, more than ever, it is a day for us to also, reflect on how we can promote understanding, awareness, and a greater spirit of kinship with our Indigenous communities by way of the parks, recreation, tourism, and culture sectors. So I just wanted to acknowledge that before I initiated my presentation. So as you will recall, as council, the PRTC master plan was identified as a priority for Township Council to undertake through your community-based strategic plan. The master plan provides a strategy to address community needs over the next 10 years for parks, recreation, tourism, and culture services in the township of Warwick. The master plan has been informed by a wide range of documents, best practices, local demographics, and feedback from township residents. These broad impacts, they help to ensure that the master plan reflects past best practices found throughout Ontario while responding to unique conditions found in Warwick. A total of 44 recommendations have been put forth for Township Council and staff to work into their short-term work plans and long-range budgets. Based on community feedback, which I will discuss in the upcoming slides, a vision and mission statement have been created to guide the Parks and Recreation Department. The vision aspires to provide a broad range of choices for all township residents so that they can benefit from being physically, socially, and economically healthy. The mission reinforces the role of the department to be an ally or a partner to local service providers and volunteers so that a cost-effective and well-rounded range of opportunities are offered throughout the township. Efforts were made to allow any resident that wanted to offer comments to do so through a variety of means. While COVID-19 restricted the ability for us to meet in person, the master plan used a number of online opportunities, including public information centers, a public survey, forums with local user groups and service providers, while also engaging township council and staff early in the process. We were also able to engage the resident members of your Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee and to gain their feedback as well. So we feel that we heard from a wide range of people, and that certainly was of benefit to us and our understanding. While we received a diverse range of comments throughout the master planning process, a few notable themes became apparent. Residents and user groups indicated that they believe the township is providing high-quality parks, recreation, and cultural facilities, particularly with the recent investments in the expansion of the Watford Arena and Community Center and then the subsequent agreement with the YMCA. There was also appreciation for investments that had been made in Centennial Park, though there were some concerns expressed with respect to low use of the BMX park and the orientation of the tennis courts. A number of other suggestions were received for additional trails, an outdoor stage, pickleball courts, activities for teens, and placing a greater emphasis on arts and culture, since not all residents are interested in sports. So these schemes, served to inform us as we went through the master planning process and through the needs assessments. And so the slides that will follow will highlight some of the more notable recommendations that are contained in the master plan. We're not going to go through all 44, but certainly if there are questions on recommendations that were not presented in this presentation today, but we're in the master plan, we're happy to discuss those with council as well. So for Parkland, future residential developments and a lack of parkland on the west side of Watford and within Warwick Village should be addressed primarily through the acquisition of 2.3 hectares of new parkland. The township will be able to obtain a portion of this land using the Planning Act's parkland dedication provisions. Other notable recommendations included enhancing the township's role in promoting resiliency to climate change and extreme weather events using the park system, designing parks to be accessible, safe, and comfortable, and ultimately making parks feel welcoming and inviting to both established residents, newcomers to the township, and visitors. The master plan recommends focusing trail-related investments on developing out the Twin Creeks Nature Trail to connect to other active transportation infrastructure and to connect to key community destinations. To enhance walkability and cycling opportunities throughout the township, a focus should be placed on developing walkways or internal pathways so that people can walk within parks and open spaces near their homes, as well as using the Planning Act and other means to create linkages to future residential areas. Stronger connectivity will encourage healthy lifestyles, potentially increase community vibrancy in civic spaces, and link people to the things that are of value in the township of Warwick. The Watford Warwick Horticultural Society has been a valued partner with the township, and the organization continues to advance ideas aimed at bettering public spaces. The master plan recommends supporting the Horticultural Society in implementing a renewal project for the Bluebird Parquet that would provide an enhanced design, resulting in an inviting, aesthetically pleasing public space for residents and visitors to enjoy. To build upon the township's recent investments at the Watford Arena and Centennial Park, a number of other recommendations have been made to reinforce it as the township's premier park that serves all ages from children to seniors and a variety of interests in your community. Recommendations include reorienting the tennis courts so that the evening sun is no longer an issue, replacing the playground based on its asset management schedule so that it is accessible to persons with disabilities, converting the BMX park to a skateboard park that can also be used by bikes and scooters, thereby diversifying the types of users that are making use of that space. Repairing the walking track and potentially installing outdoor fitness equipment, as well as installation of a stage to support the performances and events that take place in your community. Minor changes are recommended at Sunken Gardens, again, another project that was done in partnership with your Horticultural Society. But the minor changes are really aimed at increasing its level of comfort through seating, refreshed signage, and other aesthetic improvements. Working with community partners to offer small programs could help activate and animate that space for area residents. Recommended improvements to Warwick Park include installing safety netting on the ball diamond to protect spectator areas, updating its pavilion, and also replacing its playground in line with asset management plans. The Taxandria Soccer Club is responsible for most upgrades at the Warwick Soccer Complex under the terms of its agreement with the township. Installing field lighting on one of the fields could allow the club to expand their programming while making the site more attractive for regional tournaments. So you as a township working with the club to help that come to fruition is encouraged. A number of people expressed their appreciation for the beauty of Watford Memorial Park. And it is a place where people like to gather, they take pictures, and the township really has an opportunity to build on this success by promoting a greater range of passive uses for that park, such as wedding receptions, celebrations of life, and community gatherings by undertaking minor improvements to park signage and the park's pathway. The expansion to Watford Community Arena is an exciting and proactive investment that Township Council has helped come to fruition. And like the update from your manager today, well underway and a really exciting time for you folks. Through your partnership with a nationally recognized service provider in the YMCA, your investment in the arena and its hall will provide residents and visitors alike with opportunities to engage in recreation, culture, and leisure for the foreseeable future. So kudos. With respect to the Warwick Community Center, since your investment in that facility is still fairly recent, the focus is placed on increasing the range of programs that can be offered in the space. So with the YMCA coming to the township, it would seem logical to explore their interest in delivering satellite programs at this location, while also engaging other community providers to find ways to encourage them to make use of that space as well. With respect to the museum, I mean, it's a local landmark that contains a number of historical items, including the Maxmobile, and as such, it's an important part of your cultural and tourism infrastructure. Due to the age and the design of the building as a former fire hall, it will be necessary to engage an architect and possibly an engineer to prepare a redevelopment plan, but ultimately come up with a solution and a concept that results in a facility at a museum that can be accessible to all persons, provide programs to support the local arts and cultural community, as well as other prospective uses that support social, cultural, and other types of activities. The Carnegie Library remains an important asset in the township's cultural inventory, and it would be beneficial to engage Lambton County Library to identify and prioritize any improvements that reinforce the availability of library collections, programs, and services that are provided to area residents over the next 10 years. And finally, the master plan recommends that the township remain a provider of space that enables its strong base of volunteers and community organizations to deliver the programs, as well as events and other services. Promoting awareness of local parks, recreation, tourism, and cultural offerings is strongly encouraged, while undertaking strategies that allow services to be inclusive of all residents, regardless of their age, ability, income, or background. And with the opening of the new Watford Arena and Hall, or the expanded arena and hall, it will be important to discuss strategies with the YMCA that allow all townships residents, whether they are Y members or not, to be able to reasonably access the programs and the spaces. So while we hope there is a strong buy-in for all of the master plan's recommendations, we would note that the Township Council is not bound to any single recommendation contained in this document and will have further opportunity to deliberate the merits of any individual recommendation. Township staff will work with yourselves as council to integrate recommendations into capital and operating budgets each year and provide additional information where necessary for council to make its decision. The master plan places the township in an excellent position to secure external funding through infrastructure stimulus programs, operating grants, and other initiatives, as the groundwork really now has been laid. So we would like to specifically thank you as Township Council for the insights that you provided throughout this master planning process. And we'd also wish to recognize the work of Amanda Goebbels and Teresa Clatchin to ensure that we as the consultants had all of the information that we needed to prepare what we believe is a successful, realistic, and cost-effective master plan. So at this time, we would be pleased to take any questions from council. Thank you again.
That's great. Thank you so much for that presentation. Do we have questions, council? I don't know how specific we are going to be delving into this tonight. The only thing that I was wondering about is the reconfiguration of the tennis courts. Will it be an issue once the new building is there with the sun?
You know, I think where it is right now, I would hope that it wouldn't be. I think, you know, as you reorient it, your staff will work with those contractors to kind of provide you with a better sense. But, you know, really, you know, by turning them over, you can consume, you know, most of the existing footprint. It's just, you know, to ensure like, you know, the standard playing dimensions, it's not a perfect square, or I guess it's a perfect square, but it needs to be more rectangular. So there is a possibility that the baselines would need to be extended a bit. But really, we see them occurring in the same spot, and therefore the addition should not have a bearing that we are aware of.
Okay. I just thought maybe it was because of the sun coming in from the east, but the building will be blocking that once it's finished, won't it?
That's a good point. And yeah, I mean, you know, once you get I guess that building up, you'll have also a better sense of the sun angle, the sun pattern, especially in the kind of summertime months. But you know, I think it is kind of in the spring, if people want to get on early and play a little bit later in the fall, that's when the sun angle really starts to change and get a bit lower and causes some of those glare issues if you're looking right in.
Councillor Westgate, did you have a comment or a question?
I just had one comment on that. We refinish them every 10 years or so. So it should wait until the next time we refinish them, and then it's easy enough to turn them, I think. And it doesn't cost a whole lot because we're redoing them anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you as a township have kind of undertaken a deep clean of it, of those courts. But you haven't done like the shave and pave kind of lately. So there's still some cracking, and that's normal. Typically you get, you know, 10 to 15 years usually out of these courts, depending on your kind of site conditions, but 10 to 15 years, and you're doing a kind of a shave and pave, with just refinishing the surface. So sorry, through you, Madam Mayor, to the councilor's comments. Absolutely, if you can align it with some of that future capital work, there may be efficiencies that you can attain if aligning those.
Any other questions or comments? Councillor Morris.
Yeah, I guess this question is for Teresa. Have you heard any negative impact questions regarding the BMX park?
Councillor Morris, with regards to the BMX park, we've had, I think maybe 2 calls this summer why it isn't open, but they were both from out of town.
Okay. Thank you.
Just to add to that, I had one call, but they thought it was closed because of COVID. And so when I explained to them that we were in the process, they were like, oh, totally understand that. And I think a lot of the public like the idea, from what I've heard anyway, like the idea of paving it over so that it can be used for more, like you said, the scooters and the bikes, and even just kids running and up and down and things like that. I was wondering about seating. Like, we have this beautiful outdoor kitchen that we're building on the east side of the arena, or of the new expansion. What about seating or some kind of a pavilion for people to eat close to that? Is that included anywhere?
So, Madam Mayor, are you referring then to like more of an outdoor eating area? Like,
Yeah.
We have heard. Oh, go ahead.
I was just thinking, Teresa, you know what Cornfest is like, where we serve the food and everybody just sits in that area. I just wondered if that was in the long-term plans or somewhere to add something maybe between there and the tennis courts.
So if I can respond to that. So on the east side, there's still the tennis courts, but that is we're now into parking lot. But there are options of doing tents in the future for large gatherings. So that way we wouldn't use that space all the time. That would be, so for those special events, you could do tented events on the asphalt.
Great suggestion. Councillor Westgate?
If we're going to build a pavilion, it should be over between the 2 ball diamonds anyway, because that's where the beer tent should be for it now. And it would get a lot more use. The optimists are already looking at doing that.
That is a suggestion that I've heard as well. Councillor Morris?
I had a lot of comments this summer with the expanding of the area of the Optimist Bar with the picnic tables. I would not be against budgeting for getting some more picnic tables. I think we need to make sure we have lots of seating.
Okay. It's a good suggestion as well. I thought it was I read through it today and I was so impressed with what all has been accomplished throughout the last few months. And it's really exciting to see. It'll be great to see this come to fruition.
Well, we appreciate that, Madam Mayor, and others on council. Again, this was a collective team effort. We heard from the community. We heard from many of yourselves, and we were able to engage staff. And that combined with what we know in other communities and what we've learned in other communities, we really think that this is an exciting time for parks, recreation, tourism, and culture in your community. Again, I think you as a council have been very proactive and willing to try different things. Sometimes successful and sometimes less so, but that's okay. I mean, I think trends change, and it's always important to try and respond to needs of your community. So, even with the comment just now about the seating, again, it's kind of a bang on kind of observation, because Again, what we were hearing is not everyone, plays sports. Sports is important. Don't get us wrong, but there are also people looking to do other things in parks, and, just coming to a park and feeling comfortable. So having seating available, having shade available, that kind of thing. And so I think, hearing that throughout the planning process and having it reinforced tonight. Again, we do believe that, with your proactive efforts, especially on the indoor side of things, really over the next 10 years, this master plan is pretty pragmatic. And I would think it's fairly, there's no big, huge ticket items, but a lot of good bang for the buck, I think, that will help you as council improve the quality of life. So thank you for those comments.
Yeah. Martina, do you have any questions?
I was actually just wondering about, is there plans in there somewhere around accessibility around the baseball park? Like accessibility paths, seating, etc.?
That's a fantastic question.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the master plan, and again, it's reinforced through our vision and carried through a number of recommendations. We want to make sure that parks, recreation, culture, and tourism is available for all. Everybody might not be able to do the same thing, but there should be a choice and an opportunity for every resident to do something. But specifically with respect to the accessibility, your facilities, your parks, should have strong consideration for barrier-free accessibility and be designed with, facility accessibility design standards moving forward. So any new project, any new redevelopment, I mean, the township really is obligated to address accessibility through the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act. But again, there are also considerations, when you speak about the ball diamonds, Martina. Oftentimes we might find that the parking lot might be accessible, but to reach a specific area in the park may not be. And so, staff, I think, again, in the master plan will support staff in this exploration of are our parks, and the park components accessible to a wide range of people, including people with persons with disabilities.
That's an excellent comment, Martina. And I know that was a huge priority with the expansion in the new hall, was to make sure that our arena, all levels of the arena, were accessible to all. And as someone who has parents who are in that category that needs the wheelchair, I can't even tell you how inaccessible a lot of cities are. It's amazing. When you go into London, you think that it's going to be all good, and then when you actually try to maneuver around it, you really have to get in a chair yourself and try to do that maneuverability, because it makes a big difference when you're actually utilizing the facilities. So that's an excellent point. Any other questions or comments? All right, so there is a recommendation that we accept the Township of Warwick Parks and Recreation, Tourism and Culture Master Plan. And as Anand did refer to, there will be opportunities for council and future councils to make adjustments as it goes. It's a living, breathing document, I'm sure, that will change over time, but it gives us a very good blueprint and our staff a good blueprint when they're doing the budgeting. So do we have a mover and a seconder for that? Moved by Councillor Mitchell, seconded by Councillor Westgate. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. So Anand, I don't know if you're going to stick around for the rest of the meeting, or if we can thank you for your participation tonight and let you be on with your evening.
Okay, yeah, I will take my leave then, because I did reviewing the agenda. I don't think there was too much left there where you needed my time here. But again, thank you very much as a council. We thoroughly enjoyed working with all of you, and we hope our paths cross soon again. Have a good evening.
Yes, absolutely. And you're welcome to come and enjoy our facilities anytime.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We'll take you up on that. Take care. Maybe
Take
the next
care.
fish fry.
Yes, for sure.
Take care.
Excellent. All right, so we have a report on the agenda here about the East Lambton Community Complex construction progress. So there is a recommendation to receive and file that report. Are there any questions about that report before we receive and file it? Councillor Morris and then Councillor Westgate. Councillor Morris, you're muted.
I want to ensure that we are going to be ready for ice October 12th.
Yes.
That was a pretty definitive answer. Thank you. Councillor Westgate. Oh, sorry, Teresa, did you want to elaborate?
We do have some work to do on the dehumidifiers, but we do have one that will be available. But yes, everything is on track for October 12th.
That's
And
excellent.
the booth will be open?
We're going to stage the opening, so it will not be open when we first open the arena.
When do you expect it to be open?
We are opening under partial capacity. And so with the opening, the men's and women's washrooms are not yet complete. They should be done within the first couple of weeks of opening, barring, right now we're waiting for materials. That's the challenge. And so once we have those open, we'll be able to open the kiss session.
And there are bathrooms in all of the dressing rooms that can be
Yeah.
utilized in the meantime.
Yes.
Okay. And what about Silver Stick? What do we expect it to look like by then?
We expect to have all of our dress rooms ready for Silver Stick. So it's scheduled, everything's scheduled to be done by the 1st of September or December, sorry.
That's fantastic. Councillor Westgate, did you have a question or comment?
One of my questions was Silver Stick, and we have to make sure we're ready for Silver Stick. Did you check on the timing for that, Teresa?
No, I didn't yet today. Just so everyone is aware, Councillor Westgate refers to our primary ice user meeting last night. And I do have the international Silver Stick dates, but I don't have the our Watford Silver Stick dates that are in December. So I am in the process of finalizing that information.
I know John Van Leeshout can tell you the dates because he told me it was earlier this year. There was it was a very good meeting you had last night. A lot of information given out. The rec league, do you know how you're going to work it with only 3 dressing rooms?
Yeah, so the rec league was not able to make it last night. I've received some correspondence tonight, but just like every other association, we will have to buffer between, so there will be a longer period between games until we get all 6 dressing rooms up and running.
So you're just, are they going to start earlier or later?
Sorry, Councillor Westgate. No, they wouldn't be able to start earlier because of other rentals. So it'll extend the rentals, I believe, by a half an hour to 45 minutes on Sunday nights, but I'm still working out those details.
Okay.
And again, it is for a shorter period of time, like basically for the first 6 weeks.
I guess that was about all I had. That's fine.
The ramp where it goes up for the accessible seating, what is that going to look like? Like, is there going to be chairs or stools or like?
That's a good question, Mayor Roundboats. So on the east side, there is 2 steps to go up, and on the west side, it is the full ramp. It is so these pictures were, you can imagine, even like hour to hour, there are major changes. So it is now completely covered in skate tile, which is great. There will be a rail. We are not putting chairs, any sort of permanent chairing up there seating right now. We will have portable chairs. First, we want to see how it's being used before we, start adding anything to it. But yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, I was so curious to see how that was going to look and whether or not it would have a railing or I like the idea of portable chairs because then if you do have more than one person who needs the space for accessibility, then there's room for that. And like you said, it's always good to kind of see how it's being used. So that's fantastic. It's exciting to see. Any other questions? Oh, Councillor Westgate.
On showing that you're vaccinated, over in Thetford, we only have to show it once. They write it down and we don't have to have it every time. I was wondering if we couldn't do something like that.
So Councillor Westgate, I wouldn't be able to speak to other facilities and their process. My understanding, and I could be wrong and I'll look into it, is that as a municipality, we cannot keep that information. And so that's why it's being requested every time that you come into the building. We can't keep records.
The hockey team are keeping the records. Now, they did have Chris there once to check the first time.
Yeah, it's my understanding, again, and I can look into this, that we do need to check every time an individual comes into the building.
It's just a real pain in the ass when you have to get your phone out every time you come into the building. And everybody knows we've already been there 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, no, and I can appreciate that, but if we have a third party and it could be different people, they may not know. I know firsthand, because I do live in London, it's just become routine for me that I have it ready when I go to places. So I understand and I can look into it. But I'm just not sure about an honor system at this time.
And I guess we're going to have a third party for even like on Wednesday morning.
So Wednesday morning was definitely for Huff and Puff. So for your group, it will probably be staff doing it, even if it's myself, because it's challenging to bring security in for like 15 minutes. So for your groups, and I know you guys are all well behaved, Councillor Westgate. So yeah, it could be myself, it could be our new Parks Recreation and Facilities Assistant, Katie Faulkner. But yeah, we're working on those morning sessions as mentioned last night. So still stay tuned, we're still working on things.
Councillor Morris, did you have a comment on that?
I guess following up on the same thing, do we have security guards, trained professionals lined up for minor hockey games?
We have made inquiries and I've had discussions, but nothing is confirmed at this time. It's a matter of, I think some of it is supply and demand right now. But that is our goal, is to have a third party. And Amanda, should I not, the leads that I have, Amanda has another lead for me to work on. So we'll be connecting tomorrow. So that is our goal, Councillor Morris, is to have a party.
And hopefully, like the province has promised that this is only a temporary measure. So hopefully in time, we won't have to utilize this. But we will be having somebody from outside of our community do the checking, just so that the rest of council, those of you who weren't here earlier in the call, we had discussed that. Any other questions? Oh, Councillor Morris.
Yeah, Teresa, I'm not sure if it was in this report or where I read it, but it was different costs for different facilities throughout the area. Was that in this report?
I'm sorry, Councillor Morris, what costs are you referring to?
Costs of the arena rental, ballparks, etc.
I haven't brought any costs forward.
Okay, thank you. I read it somewhere else. Thank you very much.
Was it not in this report? I
thought it was.
But in the, I just read that.
Was it in maybe the Parks and Rec master plan report?
That's where you would have read it. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, it was there.
It would have, yeah, possibly, yeah, if I remember correctly, there'd be a comparison in there to others. Yeah.
Councillor Morris.
Then I guess I have the question, why are our baseball diamonds $74 and everybody else's are 33?
I do not have the history on that, but as we prepare to open the new East Lambton Community Complex, we'll definitely take a look at rates, but I don't necessarily know that answer.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Westgate?
I believe that $70 is for both diamonds for the
Okay.
whole night on
Yeah,
Thursday
that makes
nights
sense.
and on Tuesday nights. If you just rent, I don't think we had them last year, a slow pitch team that rented it just on Monday nights.
Wednesday nights we did.
Was it Wednesday nights?
Yeah.
They were not charged $70 a night, right? They're 20, I think.
Okay,
But the $70 covers the 2 leagues for the night.
Okay, any other questions?
so Warwick is not that expensive because there's only one diamond. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? All right, we do need a mover and a seconder to receive and file that report. Moved by Councillor Morris, seconded by Councillor Mitchell. All in favor? That is carried. Is there any new business tonight? We have no closed meeting session. Oh, did I miss it? Nope. Then we go on to bylaws.
Thank you, Mayor Rembes. The motion for consideration is that bylaw number 102 of 2021 be read a first and second time.
Moved by Councillor Mitchell, seconded by Councillor Westgate. All in favor? That is carried.
Thank you. And the second one is that bylaw number 102 of 2021 be read a third time and finally passed.
That is moved by Councillor Morris, seconded by Councillor White. All in favor? That is carried. Just want to take a moment to thank our staff for all the hard work that you guys have put through with all the preparations. This is not an easy task to put together a master plan, particularly when you're trying to build a new community complex and continue with the operations that are constantly changing through the new COVID regulations. So congratulations on completing that major project to both Amanda and Teresa. Thank you very much for your hard work on that. And we just need a motion to adjourn. Councillor Mitchell and Councillor Westgate, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you so much, Council, for joining us on this holiday, and we will see you all soon.